r/ask Reddit by online comps. What is one random act of kindness a stranger did for you? One of my most vivid childhood memories is of me at the local bar and grill with my parents, and I was like 6, and looking at a very specific doll in a claw machine. It was Tweety Bird in a spacesuit. I was so zoned out, I didn't even know someone walked up until the claw came down, picked it up, and dropped it in the chute in one fell swoop. I turned to see a man who looked homeless/transient taking the Tweety Bird out of the chute and immediately bending down and handing it to me. Neither of us said anything, just smiled at each other, and then he turned and walked out of the restaurant. I was on a trip on Norway, and it was literally my last night in the city and the country. I lost the midnight train, but no problem, I could still take the first train in the morning. In the meantime, I went to the dock, because that's where all the nightlife was. The bar closed at 2 AM and the train passed at 5 AM. So a guy I had met at the bar told me there's no way you're gonna spend 3 hours walking around, and he took me to his house. He gave me the worst coffee I've ever had, and we spent those 3 hours talking. Then he took me to the train station, bought my ticket to the airport, and before he left he told me I'm drunk, and I haven't slept, so tomorrow I might not remember you, but it's been a pleasure helping you. When I was 9 or 10 I missed the school bus. This big guy picked me up and ran towards the bus screaming to try to make the bus stop. It eventually did, and he put me inside of it and then dipped. I couldn't even say thanks. And I was a chubby one no less. Did you initially think he was trying to kidnap you? I would have been scared. Turns out he was a nice guy. I showed up 1 minute late to the airport to catch a critical flight. People were literally still going through security, but they wouldn't let me enter the line. I had a breakdown in the waiting area. Some random old guy came and handed me $20 and said, I know this doesn't help whatever it is you just missed, but if they let you take the next one at least go. Have a hot breakfast on me. Take care. And he just shuffled off on his way. I was floored. I had a cyst inside my ovaries that became incredibly painful out of nowhere. I was white as a sheet and managed to leave work and get to the pharmacy nearby. I was hunched over and even lying on the floor at certain times because I was in so much pain waiting in line. After I paid for whatever it was that I bought, a lady in line asked if I needed a ride anywhere. She took me to the urgent care clinic and even stayed with me to take me home. What an angel. I was an American in China and 6 months pregnant. I was at the train terminal and the hormones kick in. I start crying for literally no reason, which makes me only cry harder. A very tiny old Chinese woman grabs my shoulder and said something I don't understand. She then grabs me and gave me a huge hug. When she pulled away she gave me a great smile. It was exactly what I needed. Pickpocket 100. My wife and I saved up to buy a nice Forest grill years ago, but we never thought of how to get it home. We were trying to get it in the trunk of our little car and were just about to resort to opening the box it came in to put it in piecemeal when a guy who'd been sitting in his truck eating dinner in the parking lot came up and asked if he could help us transport it to our place. We lived 20 miles away and he was still more than happy to drive it to our house and drop it off and refused any kind of payment for helping. I was at Target to do some shopping when my baby had a blowout diaper. I also had my 2-year-old with me. There was no family restroom, so I had to use the changing station in the ladies' room. My toddler was out of control and was just itching to do gross stuff like lick the floors or play in toilet water or something that would horrify literally anyone on the planet except a mischievous 2-year-old. A woman, probably in her 40s, saw my predicament, baby on changing table and me unable to physically intervene with the 2-year-old, and interacted with my toddler so I could deal with the shitsplosion my tiny infant son produced. They counted sinks, jumped from tile to tile, made silly faces to one another. It probably only lasted 2 to 3 minutes, but it was the most helpful thing someone could have done for me in that overwhelming moment. Christmas Eve a couple years back, I had worked a shift at the hospital, not a doc or high paid person, and was trying my best to get to my family's house about 2 hours away before dinner. My brakes on my car just are not working right. It's snowing like crazy, and I'm thinking there is no hope. I saw the local mechanic was still open, so I pulled in and told him what was going on. Half hour or so later he comes out and tells me what was wrong and that he had gone ahead and fixed it. I asked him what I owed him for the work. He said get home to your family safe and have a Merry Christmas. I felt like I was in a Hallmark movie. It is now the only place I will take my car. Years ago I was on a summer road trip with some friends from Dallas to Austin. On the way down, the battery meter on my dashboard started acting funny, jumping up then dropping down, all sorts of weird stuff. We make it down to Austin and we are supposed to go see my one friend's show, but I say I'm going to run to an AutoZone and see about buying a new battery. It was 6 or 7 p.m. and I assumed all the mechanics were closed. I should also say that this is way before smartphones were a thing, and only one of us even owned a cell phone. I buy a new battery and install it in the parking lot. Turn the car on, and it's not the battery that was the issue. Shit. I go and meet my friends after the show and say we should leave that night instead of the next morning. My rationale being that if we drive at night, we won't need the AC. This is Texas in the middle of the summer, so even at night it's going to be hot, but not unbearable, and therefore can use less battery power. We all pile in my car and get about 20 miles outside the city when my car dies. While we didn't need AC, we did need headlights. We are pulled over on the side of the road. My friend with the cell phone calls AAA and they say it'll be an hour or so before anyone is able to make it out. While we are standing there on the side of the road in the near pitch black, a truck pulls over in front of my car. A man gets out and starts walking towards us. All of my friends take a step back, nominating me to do the talking / get killed first. The man asks us what the problem is. I reply that my car's dead. He says he has a tow chain in the back of his truck and would be able to tow us to Dallas, which is about 200 miles away. This seems like a terrible idea, since I'll have to ride in my car steering and using the brakes, since it's only going to be attached by a chain. But I was 19 years old and stupid, so after my friends and I talk it over, we say okay. He says that he's got a small trailer at his place about 50 miles away that we could use to tow my car, but until then, I'm steering a dead car about 3 feet away from this guy's bumper. Myself and my ex-girlfriend are in my car, and my other 2 friends are in the truck. It wasn't until later that I learned the story of the truck driver from my friends who were riding with him. Turns out, a year or so earlier he'd been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Instead of doing treatment, he decided to accept his fate and spend whatever time he had left driving all over Texas helping people who were stranded on the side of the road. I can't remember his name anymore, but I'll never forget him rescuing us that night. I'm a Seahawks fan living in Arizona. In 2011, a regular at the Starbucks I worked at gave me 4 tickets to the Seahawks at Cardinals game. It was the last game of the year, so he also gave us the money that was left on his stadium food card. He said it was use it or lose it, and that it had about $200 left on it. The seats were club level and my 3 friends and I ate like kings. As a thank you we pulled in and got him a $100 Starbucks gift card. Person donated $200 to me, no strings attached, to help with my cancer treatments. Bless them. When I hit no money as a student, I went to do a shop with the little money I had left. Turns out my phone bill came out and I was flat broke and had to leave all the shit at the cashier whilst I went outside to work out if I could loan money. This absolutely amazing woman comes out and said she saw the whole thing and she has a son who's a student who gets into similar situations, and she gave me a hug and forced some money in my pocket. I was too flabbergasted to say anything then, but lady, if you're reading this, you really changed my opinion about people in general and made sure I ate for the first time in a week. Thank you, kind stranger, and I hope life rewards you. I had been going through a breakup and was sitting in a plaza with a friend. I decided to try some sort of dairy-free frozen yogurt at one of the shops there. Inside, the workers were talking while helping me, and apparently the girl that was helping me was going through something at the time too. She looked at me and said, "I'm sad. Are you sad too?" I said, "Yes," and she gave me my Froyo for free. Please like and subscribe, I'm getting desperate. Comment on this video and hit the bell icon to wake this doggo up. Thanks for watching, and don't give up.